Your calm is the one thing she never expected, and that's exactly why it shakes her more than anything you could have said. Most men panic when a woman pulls away. They reach out, they chase, they explain, they apologize for things that weren't their fault because they fear losing her. But when you choose calm instead of chaos, silence instead of desperation, and composure instead of emotional outbursts, you become a version of yourself she wasn't prepared for. She thought you would fall apart. She thought you would run after her. She thought your world would shake without her presence in it. But instead, you stayed still. You held your ground, you breathed, and that calm presence, that unshakable stillness, makes her look back over her shoulder and wonder if she misjudged your strength. Calm isn't passive, it isn't cold. It isn't distance for the sake of ego. No, real calm is power. It's the quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is and refuses to let emotions dictate his worth. When she walked away or pulled back, you didn't crumble. You didn't break, and that stability becomes magnetic. A woman expects emotional reactions because most men give her exactly that. She expects you to try to correct her, chase her, convince her, prove why she should stay. But when you don't do any of that, when you simply remain centered, she begins to wonder what kind of man is doing it all along. She starts to replay moments, trying to understand how you stayed so grounded and she was the one who should have been in control, and calm becomes a mirror that reflects her own inner story. Suddenly, it's not you who seems confused or uncertain, it's her. She begins to question her choices. She starts to wonder why you aren't affected, why you aren't fighting, why you aren't losing yourself. That's the moment the balance shifts. Because your calm tells her something deeper than any words ever could, that you are not dependent on her attention to feel complete, that you won't beg for space in someone's life, that you are whole, disciplined, capable of standing alone without collapsing. This calmness also gives her room to feel her own emotions instead of being distracted by your reaction. When you don't interrupt her with apologies or explanations, she actually has the space to remember the moments that matter, the presence you provided, the peace she felt around you. And that peace is rare. It's something she'll compare to every other man she meets. Your calm becomes the very thing she misses when she realizes no one else carries themselves with that level of control. The truth is, a calm man is unforgettable. A calm man is respected. A calm man is desired. And that calmness, that unexpected stillness, becomes the reason she turns back, even if pride tries to hold her still. Because deep inside, she knows she walked away from a man who wasn't shaken by her absence. And that realization stays with her far longer than your presence ever did. And that's why your calm matters. When you stop reacting to her emotions and start controlling your own, everything changes. Most men don't understand this. They think connection is built through constant reassurance, constant availability, constant emotional engagement. But when a woman pulls back, when she becomes distant or uncertain, reacting to her every mood only makes you appear unstable and overly dependent. She doesn't want someone who mirrors her emotional swings. She wants someone who remains steady while she figures herself out. And when you stop letting her emotions dictate your behavior, she begins to see you in a completely different light. This shift isn't about becoming cold. When a woman begins drifting away, one of the most powerful things a man can do is rebuild his value, not by proving himself to her, but by proving himself to himself. This is where true transformation begins, because when she steps back, when she becomes distant or distracted, what she's really showing you is a mirror. She's showing you where you may have lost your spark, where you stopped growing, where you stopped living in a way that made you naturally attractive in the first place. And instead of chasing her, instead of trying to win back her attention through words, pressure, or emotional explanations, the wisest thing you can do is turn inward and focus on elevating your life again. A woman is drawn to a man who is moving, evolving, creating momentum, not a man who is frozen in place waiting for a validation. When you begin improving yourself, not for her, but for your own self respect, you create a silent gravitational pull that she can feel even from a distance. You start by fixing the areas of your life you might have been neglecting. Maybe it's your physique, your mindset, your career, your confidence, your discipline, or even your social life. When a man begins sharpening himself in multiple areas, his energy changes. He walks differently. He speaks differently. He carries himself with quiet pride. And this subtle but powerful shift is something she always notices, even if she pretends not to. Self improvement doesn't mean posting your progress online or trying to prove how much you've changed. Real growth is quiet. It's the early morning discipline, the late night study sessions, the workout you did skip, the goals you wrote down and actually achieved. It's the decision to become a man with purpose, not a man who waits around for a woman to tell him that he's enough. When you invest in yourself, you shift from scarcity to abundance. You no longer see your absence as a loss. You see it as space to grow. Women are deeply attracted to men who use solitude as fuel rather than letting it break them. This kind of internal upgrade creates a magnetic effect. When she sees you becoming more grounded, more confident, more focused, she begins questioning her own distance. She wonders what changed, what sparked your transformation, and why you no longer seem emotionally dependent on her presence. Ironically, the moment you stop trying to pull her back is the moment she starts feeling the pull again, because you've become someone she can respect. You've become someone she can't easily replace. You've become a man who's not defined by her choices, but by his own direction. And in that silent strength, in that personal evolution, she begins reconsidering everything. Ending line only say, growth becomes the quiet force that brings her back when words never could. Silence, when used with intention and self control, creates a powerful emotional contrast that she cannot ignore. Most men panic when a woman pulls away. They chase, they over explain, they try to negotiate feelings, or they beg for clarity. But when you do the opposite, when you stay calm, steady, and present in your own life instead of reacting emotionally, you create a shift she never expected. Suddenly, the dynamic is no longer familiar. Instead of you being predictable, available, and ready to fix everything, your silence makes her feel the weight of her own decisions. It makes her realize that you are not a man who collapses under emotional pressure. And that shift alone can pull her attention back more strongly than any words ever could. This silence isn't about punishment or manipulation, it's about discipline. It's about refusing to engage in chaos, refusing to argue, refusing to get pulled into emotional storms that drain your energy. When you respond with calm stillness, you show emotional maturity. You show that you are capable of handling discomfort without falling apart. And women find this deeply attractive because emotional steadiness is rare. Most people react impulsively. Most people need constant reassurance. But the man who can hold his center, who can allow silence to speak for him, communicates strength without saying a single word. The silence also forces reality to surface. When she no longer receives instant responses, constant affection, or immediate emotional support, she notices the absence. Humans naturally value what becomes scarce. And when your presence is no longer guaranteed, she begins to feel an internal pull. She starts wondering what you're thinking, what you're doing, whether you've moved on, or whether someone else has your attention. This uncertainty can spark a mix of curiosity, reflection, and even regret. And that's exactly where the shift begins. She starts thinking about you and you think about her. But silence is only powerful when combined with genuine growth. When you sit still and doing nothing, waiting for her to return, the silence becomes empty. It becomes emotional avoidance rather than emotional strength. The real power comes when your silence is paired with action, when she sees you becoming the calmest and strongest version of yourself, when she sees your life expanding while hers stays the same, when she realizes your peace isn't dependent on her presence. That's when your silence transforms from confusion into attraction. Your calmness becomes a contrast to the noise in her life. Your self control becomes something she can respect. Your quiet confidence becomes something she feels drawn to again. And the more she sees you living in peace without complaint, without bitterness, without desperation, the more she realizes she underestimated your strength. In a world full of loud, reactive, needy men, a man who stays grounded is unforgettable. Ending line only. Your silence becomes the moment she realizes you were the stability she didn't know she needed. Confidence is one of the strongest forces that draws a woman back toward a man, especially when she didn't expect him to carry himself with such undeniable self assurance. After she walks away, most men crumble, they lose focus, lose purpose, and lose the sense of who they are without her presence. But when you remain grounded, when you show that your identity isn't dependent on her validation, you demonstrate a level of inner strength that creates a powerful emotional shift. True confidence isn't loud or boastful. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't need to announce itself. It shows up quietly in the way you walk, the way you speak, and the way you make decisions without hesitation. This type of calm confidence is rare, and it's something a woman notices even when she's trying not to. Confidence becomes magnetic when it is steady and authentic. It comes from knowing your worth, honoring your boundaries, and not shrinking yourself to keep someone comfortable. It's in the way you don't chase after closure because you understand that some endings don't require explanations. It's in the way you don't question your value just because someone couldn't see it clearly. When a woman realizes that losing you didn't break you, that you didn't fall apart, didn't lose direction, didn't become bitter, it challenges the assumptions she had in her mind. She expected weakness, but instead she sees strength. She expected sadness, but instead she sees growth. And this unexpected reality forces her to reevaluate everything. This level of confidence also shows up in your new habits and decisions. You start focusing on your health, your goals, your purpose, and choose peace over drama. You invest your time into things that elevate you, your fitness, your work, your spiritual grounding, your connections with people who support your growth. You're no longer the man waiting by the phone looking for a return. You're the man who is living fully, embracing the moment, and moving with intention. This shift in energy is powerful signals to her and to the world that you value yourself enough not to be defined by loss. And here's the truth: people are drawn to those who are in motion. When you rise, others take notice. A woman, especially one who once knew you closely, cannot ignore the changes happening in you. Your confidence makes her reflect on her own choices. It makes her wonder if she misjudged you. It makes her compare the man you are now to the man she thought you were. This comparison often brings surprise, admiration, and in many cases, regret. And what draws her back isn't your words, nor your attempts to win her over, but the undeniable reality that you have become a stronger, wiser, more centered version of yourself. Your confidence becomes the silent message she wasn't prepared to receive, the message that you can stand alone, grow alone, and thrive alone, and that realization hits deeper than anything you could ever say out loud. Ending line only: confidence becomes the quiet reminder that you were never the one who needed to change. You were simply the one she needed to truly see. Patience is one of the most underestimated yet profoundly impactful qualities a man can exhibit, especially after a woman distances herself or tries to pull away. When she steps back, most men react impulsively. They call, they text, they seek reassurance, and they try to fix what isn't broken. But true strength lies in restraint. It lies in understanding that every action has a consequence and that giving space can be far more powerful than pressing for attention. By practicing patience, you show her that your emotions are steady, that your focus isn't dictated by momentary impulses, and that your life is guided by purpose rather than reaction. This calm restraint is magnetic because it creates mystery and shows self control, qualities that are deeply attractive and often overlooked. Patience also allows a man to cultivate his own life without becoming consumed by absence and longing. Instead of obsessing over why she hasn't reached out or what she might be thinking, a patient man steps inward. He channels his energy into personal growth, whether that means advancing his career, improving his health, mastering a skill, or nurturing meaningful relationships. Every step he takes independently reinforces the reality that his value are interplay with anyone else's presence or fear. This independence and self-sufficiency are not just impressive, they are irresistible. When you notice when a man's happiness and confidence do not hinge on their attention, they trigger a reevaluation of their own choices and behaviors. Moreover, patience communicates respect not just for her space, but for the natural timing of life and relationships. When a man rushes to fill gaps or force interactions, it creates pressure and tension, often pushing people away. Patience, on the other hand, sends a subtle but powerful message that you are aware of boundaries, that you honor them, and that you understand timing matters more than immediate gratification. It signals that you are not desperate, that you can wait, and that you are confident enough to trust the process. This level of self assurance and composure can shake her assumptions and stir emotions she thought were settled, prompting reflection and curiosity about the man who seems so unshakable. Importantly, patience allows her the space to miss you genuinely. When you resist the urge to reach out immediately, you create a natural absence that highlights your presence. Absence, when combined with authenticity and self-mastery, can awaken emotions and desires that were dormant or suppressed. She begins to notice the quiet void your absence creates in her life, and it forces her to confront feelings she may have ignored. Unlike pressure or manipulation, patience fosters a natural, organic process that often leads her to return, not because of your words or pleading, but because of the calm, steady presence you embody even in your silence. Ending line: only patience becomes the silent testament that your strength isn't measured by urgency, but by your unwavering ability to wait and thrive while she realizes your true value. ChatGPT can make mistakes.